this treatment that we're going to be doing today is Jessner peel, and it's very informal. This is a lunchtime treatment, like a lunchtime talk that we're doing. You are more than welcome to ask the questions. You're more than welcome to unblock your microphone and just kind of ask me some questions as we're going along. It's meant for that. It's meant to answer the questions. When you're looking at a Jessner peel, you only want to do this in the winter months. You only want to do this when people have downtimes. You don't want to do this around the holidays because somebody could react and have a bad reaction and they're out 2 or 3 weeks where they only were told 7 days. So it's not something that you want to do, right before a wedding. It's not something you want to do right before a special event. You want to make sure that they're a couple months out. You also don't want to do it around the holidays when they're getting their pictures done, which is usually when people are looking in the mirror and saying, oh, great, I need to do something about my skin. And then it's like, they come to us and they're like, do whatever, but they don't really mean that, because you're going to do whatever and you're going to have a reaction and a result. To cause a result, you have to have a reaction. So they don't want that a lot of the time. So this is your peeling peel. When we talk about peels like glycolic, salicylic, lactic, and we're talking to the clients in the bed about it and going, all right, we're going to start with a peel. I've had people jump off the table and go, no, I don't want to peel. And I'm like, no, you have to understand, these peels dissolve the dead skin cell. When they dissolve the dead skin cell, anything that I'm putting on the skin topically is going to go into that live skin and treat that skin and not treat dead skin cell. So then they understand, well, now this peel that you're going to do on them is going to take some maintenance. This is going to take them not getting their face wet. It's going to take about 7 days. They're going to look fabulous for 24 hours. They're going to love the way they look for 24 hours because it's going to get really tight, really taut. They're going to shine, and then it's going to crack and peel. And that's really what you want. So this is your peeling peel when you're talking to someone. They have to mentally understand that it's not the same as the other treatments. They are going to have some patience with it. It is going to exfoliate the skin in layers. Now, it will not peel if somebody is excessively oily, because the oils on their skin are going to neutralize the Jessner peel before you can get it. To kind of dry and crack and break. So it's not suggested for somebody with extremely oily skin. It can help control the oil, but they won't get a really big peel out of it. Then the best person for this is somebody that has sun damage. Lots of sun damage, little bit of sun damage, but sun damage. Freckling, little spots, little sunspots. Melasma is a little tricky with this. Because more trauma, melasma darkens. So we put everybody on a routine prior to this, which is a lightening routine. The lightening routine is a melanin suppressant. So it suppresses the melanocytes prior to the treatment so that when you do the treatment, you are sloughing off those top layers of discolorated skin and all of those little strands of pigment are calmed down. What you don't want to do is do someone that's stimulated with melanocytes, stimulated with pigmentation or stimulated with melasma, and they haven't suppressed, because that's just going to cause more pigment to come up. So what you really need to do is cut that chain, suppress the melanocytes, and take off the staining of the top layer. And so usually 7 to 10 days prior, we put them on a lightening system. It's melanin cleanser, skin lighten bar, lighten more. We start them on a regenerating cream with epidermal growth factor in it, and that just helps really make that skin healthy so that when we go to do the peel on them, suppression has happened. Down, the melanocytes are down, we broke the chain, and then we're taking off the staining. So that's really what it's all about. Does this help with wrinkles? Does it help, boost somebody's skin and make it nice and tight and taut? It does. But its real beauty of this peel is to really help with pigmentation. Now, people will say, my pores are really large. Can we do this peel for my large pores? What we have to remember about that is that pores do not have a muscle, so they don't open and close. They do dehydrate and they do hydrate, so they expand, But the only way to get a pore to look smaller is to resurface. So yes, we can resurface the skin and the pore is going to look smaller. But what do you think is going to happen? It's just going to come back when that skin cell builds back up. So so we don't claim to actually, shrink pores with this, but it will make the pores look a lot smaller. Our model here is my mom, this is Kathy. So she's volunteered. She's been an esthetician, most of her life, so quite a while, over 30 some odd years. And it was her second career, and has really loved it. But we're going to go ahead and treat her skin today. She has had these treatments before, and her skin is the perfect candidate for it. It's not too thin. You can see a little bit of the modeling of the skin. So it's a perfect treatment for her. But again, right now, when the weather is about 103 or 4 here, it's really hard to do this peel because you just go outside and you just sweat. So it's not so much that she's going to be in the sun, but we don't even want them in the heat. We don't want them working out for, a couple of days. I say 5 days. I ended up, still running marathon camp when I did my peel, but we're estheticians, so we do things all the time that we're not supposed to do, but we don't want them to. And the reason why is because you're going to end up with a topical dermatitis. You're going to end up with a little bit of a rash that you're going to have to treat with cortisone or get them on a stronger cream. And so we just don't want sweat, heat, or sun for about a week. So it's all about the prep. You have to really prep the skin when dealing with Jessner. Now, when we do this treatment is easy to do. What is not easy is understanding who's going to react well to it and who's not. So if somebody is allergic to aspirin, just like salicylic acid, you don't want them to do this type of treatment. You also don't want to do large areas. So you don't want to do, like I said, face, neck, chest. I knew an esthetician that did her whole legs and ended up in the hospital with anaphylactic shock. It's just too much at one time. So face is usually very safe, making sure they're not allergic to anything on their skin. We're going to go ahead and prep her skin with the melanin cleanser, and then we're going to tone it just to take away all the oil. If somebody's excessively oily when you're doing a Jessner peel like this, go ahead and use acetone. And acetone will cut all of that oil right off. It's an old favorite that we used to use long ago, and now we've gotten a little kinder with our solutions, and now they make toners that will work that have a little bit of salicylic. Our clarifying toner is very good for this, but like I said, you could use just straight acetone for somebody that is extremely oily. It'll cut all that oil. So we're going to go ahead and of course wear gloves with this. I'm going to just disinfect my hands. Because this is not kind to your fingertips. Aftercare is going to be very important. They'll go home with a cream that has epidermal growth factor in it, and they'll go home with a post-peel balm. Post-peel balm is actually to put on once they start cracking and the skin starts lifting. What that's going to do is it's going to protect the skin while it's reepithelializing. And the skin will only remove when that new layer underneath there is ready to be replaced. So it's going to help, it's a barrier there so that everything is very protected while it's rejuvenating. So post-peel balm, you guys all know it. You can use it in waxing. You can use it if somebody has an irritation, if you burn somebody or over exfoliate somebody, this is a great product for that. It's also a great product for them to go home with after this. So in this, we suggest that you package, if you're going to start them on a melanin suppressant kit, like package that with your peel treatment and your aftercare, because it makes it very easy for a client to just take that kit home and they have everything they're going to need, because they're going to still need the products that they did after, because it's really good to keep that melanocyte suppressed while you're healing, and then for future results. So you won't see a whole lot of foam, and the reason why is there is no detergents in here, so you'll just see a creaminess. This has kojic acid in it, and the kojic acid is actually a suppressing agent. The melanin cleanser is probably one of our top selling cleansers. Smells a little bit like cranberry. It does have a little bit of that smell to it. A little bit of enzyme that eats off the dirts, oils, and makeup, so you can actually remove your eye makeup with this. Not really good for eyelash extensions, but natural lashes, yes. Mascara removal, eye makeup removal, lipstick, all will come off. And you notice I did not wet her face before. I just went ahead and emulsified the cleanser and then put it directly on. This will cut more grease and makeup. If you wet the skin prior with water, then it's not as effective at removing all of that. I do not have a little cotton pad here, so I'm just going to go ahead and tone over all the areas that we're going to be working with. And then I'm going to make sure it completely dries. And this, you remember, when you're doing peels, make sure, like lactic, glycolic, salicylic, that everything dries before you put that peel on, because nowadays there's no fancy neutralizer needed. Water neutralizes a peel. So if the skin is damp, what do you think happens when you put that peel on? You're going to start neutralizing the peel. So you're not going to get an effective peel from your glycolic, salicylic, or lactics. Now, the best fan to use on the client is the one that goes around their neck and it just kind of sits here. Or you can have someone hold a handheld fan. We're going to fan with a little piece of paper today, because again, as I left the machine at the clinic, I left my fan at the clinic. It seems like I was just running around like crazy today to get here for some reason. It's been one of those days. And it was early so far. Anyway, okay, so we're just going to dry the skin. This is my fancy fan. So you can grab anything in the room and just fan. The most important part of this is not the application. The most important part of this is watching the skin. You're going to watch the skin for a couple of things. You're going to want to make sure that you get like a frosting at the end. Do not play with this peel. Do not, if you're worried about this peel and you're scared of this peel, do not do this peel, because you want 6 to 8 layers. If you cannot get through 6 to 8 layers on the skin, then don't do it. We do another treatment called an acne swipe, or an oil control swipe. And you can do one swipe on a cotton pad with Jessner, and it'll dry up somebody that has really oily skin. It'll also dry where you're doing acne, or if you're doing a lot of extraction, you can do an acne swipe. We suggest taking the clarifying toner and your Jessner peel together, putting it on a cotton pad, and then wiping over to help dry up any of that sebum or those breakouts after cleaning. Okay, so you can already see the nice glow to her skin. The cleanser really does well at washing, and then that salicylic and glycolic in the toner works really, really well. Okay, so we are going to do a couple things. So this is very full, but I have my bowl with my peel in it. You want to make sure that you have this already prepared. And a fan brush. This fan brush is a synthetic fan brush. You do not want a natural hair brush. Why? Or you do not want to put it on with a cotton pad. You do not want to put it on with a Q-tip swab, because all of that solution, all that peel is going to go right into that pad or the Q-tip, and you're going to end up wasting product. You really don't need that. This does not absorb, this synthetic does not absorb any of this peel, so it'll all go into the skin. When you're working with this solution, it's very drippy. So one thing you want to have close, eye wash. You want to have eye wash very close in case something drips into their eye. 2, you want to work, you don't ever want to go over their eye when you apply this. So you want to go around the outside perimeter. And you want it to go on evenly. I'm not worried about it being pretty. I'm worried about it being even. And I'm not going over that area 2 or 3 times. I am just getting a nice thin coating as the first coating. Now this is probably the only one that's really going to burn. After that, the skin kind of goes down. So can you end up numbing them? Sure. But I find that they don't really need it after this first layer. So if you can get them through this first layer, I'm going right up to the lip line, right on the top of the lip line. Be careful you don't get it inside the nose because it'll burn that mucous membrane. And if you're worried about that, just take the post-peel balm and put it around the nose area. Don't ever put it in an area where they have a piercing because it'll make that hole bigger. So if they have a piercing, they're gonna either have to put you're gonna have to put a piece of tape on it, a Band-Aid on it, or really balm it well and don't go anywhere near it. And you can get underneath the eye pretty close, and I'm just pulling that skin down. Permanent makeup, avoid a permanent makeup area just because I just killed my brush. Sorry, let me have your fan. The permanent makeup, it'll actually fade and take it off. So you make sure you avoid that. You can always avoid it by just putting post-peel balm. So in between each layer, you want to make sure it's completely dry, not tacky, completely dry. All right. So layer 1. Looks good. She's not having any frosting. Like I said, this is probably the most burning sensation layer that they're gonna really feel. It is a strong smell, so you'll find that they don't like the smell more than anything. And so we're just blowing away. Good. Now, if they're pre-prepping with Retin-A or a high retinol, not like retinol cream, like an actual prescription Retin-A, probably want them off at least 7 days prior to doing this so that the skin isn't so sensitive. The skin will react a lot faster if they're using Retin-A. And you know, it's just best if they're off it for 7 days. They have to be then off it for 7 days after they stop peeling. So not 7 days from the treatment, but 7 days after they stop peeling is when they can go back to it. The skin will be brand new and it'll be sensitive. So, okay, so we're just pushing that in a little bit. Feels good. It's completely dry. Okay, another layer. See how far that goes? I mean, I did a whole side of her face with just one dip in that peel. You don't need very much of this peel. So your peel solution is probably good for over 30 treatments. So if you kind of price that out and what you're going to make for these treatments, and that's another thing, you know, what are you going to make for these treatments? What do people charge for these treatments? It just depends on the area that you're in, the clientele that you have. The Jessner treatment basically goes anywhere from $150 to $350. Just like I said, depending on the clientele, depending on your menu, because it does pack a punch for the result. I always go up underneath the jawline a little bit, just so you don't have that line that's stopping right here. Your fancy fan, please. Thank you.
Can we ask Mom how she's feeling with this?
Yeah, she's not feeling it.
Not feeling anything?
Yeah, just a little bit. She's tingling a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, cool.
Well, she's used to this, so you know she's had this treatment before. Somebody will feel like ant bites, tingling. I don't really ask them like, what is your level of discomfort, 1 to 10, because basically I'm just doing this treatment. I'm gonna get it on. I know it's just it's not comfortable, but after like these first couple of layers, they should be fine. There are some topical you know, numbing agents that you can use that will help with it a little bit. But like I said, I find that they don't need that. And then that just adds more time to your treatment of them sitting there with that on, unless you know, they come in with it and they have the cellophane on. And, you know, other than that, you're going to have to wait at least 25, 35, 45 minutes for them to numb. So that's going to be a tough one if you only have one room. Okay. Nice and dry. layer 3. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but you can start seeing this white kind of coating. That's the frosting that I was talking about. And you will see that come up. You guys can probably hear my warehouse guys back there picking up their noise. They're in the production fill room, so they're a little noisy in there.
So this is different in that with like Sal or Glide, you would stop as soon as they start to frost.
Well, glycolic, you never want to frost. If you frosted them, you burn them.
Oh, okay.
Salicylic, yes. You salicylic, you can get the frost. Can I have your fan? Yeah. Salicylic, you can get a frost, and we have neutralizable salicylic. So you neutralize when you see that frost, and then that all comes off. This, you want to see that frost, but you're not gonna, it's self-neutralizing, this peel.
So on the third layer, you're starting to see the frost, but you will keep going the full 6.
Yeah, because other than that, she might not get a good peel. We just found that if you just play with it and only 3 layers and that looks like it's enough and you're getting a good frosting, can you see that line? It's just this bare white.
Oh yeah.
So that's what you want. And you can actually feather it into a hairline as well. I'm just wanting to show you guys where you can see it. Okay, so she's dry. Now we're on 4. And I'm not making it pretty. I'm just getting it on the skin evenly. I'm just trying to watch to make sure I don't have any dripping. Another thing, tears. They start to tear up. Grab that tear real fast, like have tissue available or cotton, but grab it because that salt water from the tear, you'll see a streak going down where that tear is kind of neutralized that peel. So you want to make sure you catch all that right away. Okay, she's doing well. Dry. She'll probably be good for six layers easily.
And how do you know if someone is not, you should stop? How do you know when you should stop with someone?
6 to 8 layers. That's it. Thicker skin, 8, thinner skin, 6. And don't go any less.
Don't go any less.
Unless you're doing an acne treatment and you're just doing a swipe, like we talked about. Other than
Okay.
that, make sure you get all those layers on. So it's getting a little thicker, so it'll take a little bit more time to dry on the skin, but the forehead's real good. Got them really in these lines here. I mean, Botox grabs that, but if you can get those lines to exfoliate, you'll see them less. The number 11s. Okay. Good. Number 5. Sometimes I'm starting here, sometimes I'm starting here. I'm kind of rotating. I always find that first dab is kind of a little heavier. So that's why I want to do down here one time, up here another time. You guys hear those warehouse guys? That's Tyler. You can hear him back there. I'm hoping not. Okay. Number 5. Now, this is it. I mean, this is all. And then after that, you let them dry. You make sure they're comfortable. You post peel balm their lips so they feel comfortable. But their aftercare instructions, leave it dry until it starts to crack and really kind of loosen up. Once it starts doing that, you can then introduce some post peel balm. If you find that you're too irritated, They can put post-peel balm on there prior to them peeling, but it might stop that peeling from happening really, really thick, like a real thick peeling. Her skin's in great shape. She's probably gonna get a lot of sloughing versus one big chunky peeled skin off. Like, just think about a sunburn. That's what you're looking for. I'm making myself tired. We had a potluck today and we had sloppy joes. It was amazing. I've never had sloppy joes so good. And it was probably because I didn't have to make it. That's why. But it was really yummy. Great recipe. All right. Layer 6. I'm not seeing too much frosting. She's looking good.
So how much product do you think you put in your little bowl?
This was actually pre-prepped for me, and it's way too much. I would put probably 1/4 of an ounce in and start there. And then you can always add to your bowl. But I would not, like, this thing is still full. Look at how much solution's in there.
Yeah.
Never gonna use, I would probably do 3 people with that.
Because on the other peels, it's like 1/4 size that we put in our bowls, right?
This right here is, okay, so for instance, this right here is 1/4 ounce. This might be a good way to start, you know, just this pod. So if you have these pods laying around of ours, just start with the pod, and then you can always use it first, and then you can always add to it. But 1/4 of an ounce, that's good.
Okay, thanks.
She's looking good.
Hi, Tina. I have a question. Once your certain areas start frosting, if they come up a lot faster with your products, do you still continue to apply over those frosted areas, or do you stop?
Nope, still continue.
Still continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least 6 layers. Now, I would definitely stop if I'm seeing frosting at 6 layers versus doing 8 layers. I might end up doing another layer on her skin right now, because I want to see some more frosting. I mean, you guys see a little bit of it here, but I think we could see a whole lot more. She's got some down here, and you won't be able to catch this on camera, but like her cheeks are really frosting up through the bridge of her nose.
Okay, but you go ahead and continue until you get to the maximum layers
I do.
of application. Okay, thank you.
The only time I stop is if they're really red, they're screaming it's burning, and it's just too much for them. Last layer. You notice I'm shaking off my brush before I even put it near the skin, because I don't want any dripping. I told you it was easy. Now, what if someone wears glasses? That's another thing, because that's putting constant pressure there. You know, you're gonna have to, you know, put post-peel balm there, so that they're comfortable and they don't dry out. They can still continue to wear their glasses. Okay.
Her skin looks great.
Yeah, it looks good. So I'm gonna take
Yeah.
solution back around. We're gonna dry this off. And then the instructions, make sure you also have a consent form to treat. Okay. I know our one in the manual, there's one there that's a general consent form. And that's really important, because you want to have that in there, that people understood completely what you were doing and that they, you know, were sloughing skin. The funniest story I ever have, I think I told it at the last class, was you know the expectation and results of your clients. Oh no, I didn't. I just taped some videos for the Associated Skincare Professional, so they can have in their archives. And in there, we do a lot with trios. So it was super exciting to do a treatment with them, and we did needling. So on that, we talked about knowing your expectations and understanding your client's need for the result. And I had a client come in and she had this great big black mold here on her nose. And I was looking at it and looking at it. And I was noticing, you know what, that doesn't look right. So I, got the magnifier out, really zoomed in on it. I was like, I think I see where the pores opened and there's a head there. So ended up extracting it, and it was a great big blackhead that was as big as a mold. I mean, we're talking right at the tip of my finger. And I was so excited that I cleared that off her skin, and she looked amazing. When she got up, looked in the mirror, she said, "Where'd my beauty mark go?" I go, "Beauty mark?" She goes, that was my favorite part of my face. You just removed my beauty mark? I go, it was a blackhead. And she was like, "No, it wasn't. That was my beauty mark." So that is like the funniest thing that I've really ever come across with a client not being real happy with me for removing her beauty mark, which was a blackhead. So, understand their expectations, make sure they know that they're going to peel, make sure they know they have to keep their skin completely dry, make sure they're not going to go to Pilates or bike class or be out in the sun or be sweating, perspiring, hot tubs, steam rooms. These are things that you don't want to do while you're healing from this. As this looks good, it's going to look fabulous tonight. It's going to be even tighter than this. And then as the days go on, it's then going to start to crack and peel. Underneath there, she'll have this same look. She will have this beautiful refined look that you're seeing right now. That will be there. But that layer of skin has got to come off first, and they have to understand the care in taking that layer off. So she's completely dry. I want to make sure that there's no tearing. So, we always put like a little tissue in the corner of the eyes when we ask them to open their eyes up. That way we know everything's okay. They're not going to water. Dry, leave completely dry. I also want to make sure they're not dizzy. They don't not feel good. They feel like they're going to faint. Just because some people's tolerance of pain is low, and this for someone might really irritate them and hurt them. So the process of a Jessner peel is very easy. Understanding the rules of how to treat somebody with a Jessner peel is the most important part. So to go through that again, if they've been using Retin-A, they want to be off Retin-A at least 7 days, and then they're still going to be super sensitive when you do that.
Does that include retinol?
No, I mean, assess the skin. If they're looking very sensitive, and you guys know when you see compromised skin, it looks slick, it looks a little irritated. If their skin is looking slick and irritated, give it a couple more days before doing the treatment on them. They don't want to be slick and irritated when you go ahead and put this Jessner on. Again, you'll just aggravate the skin and cause like a dermatitis reaction on the skin. So make sure that the skin is in good shape before you do this. If it's compromised skin, then you don't want to do this peel. You want to wait a couple more days. Some people use like lac hydrant on the skin and Retin-A combination, which makes the skin kind of slick and a little bit compromised. It looks really good. There's not really any wrinkles on there. I'm just amazed. I still take a couple of clients a month. I have two days that I do clinic a month, and these clients have been with me from the beginning, and they will probably all die with me, and they'll probably leave before I really want them to, but they're in their 80s and 90s. I have 70s, 80s, and 90s, and these people have not had plastic surgery. They come every single month faithfully. They do their skincare, they do their sunblock, and they don't need plastic surgery. There's nothing more beautiful than a natural skin. I don't mind a little bit of a fold here. I don't mind a little bit of crow's feet when someone smiles. That's expression. And you take that completely away, then you have that plastic look. But what is the definition now of growing old gracefully? Growing old gracefully is doing everything that you can do without doing plastic surgery. Little small tweaks like Botox and fillers, peels, needling, ultrasound, all of this stuff is what keeps them looking younger. And I'm just amazed. I look at them and go, you have no wrinkles on your skin and you're in your 80s. I mean, they're like, well, I've never missed a treatment. I go every single month. And it's true. They go every single month. They put their cream and moisturizer on. They don't do anything super extravagant. They have an exfoliator and a moisturizer and a sunblock. And that's really what you want everyone to be on. Vitamin C is great during the day. Retinol is good during the evening. The National Dermatology Association says a good retinol, a good vitamin C, and a good glycolic to the skin is what makes a rejuvenating routine. So with those 3 ingredients, they can use any wash they want to use, as long as it's not soap. They can use any toner they want to use, but those 3 have got to be clinical and of the strength to actually change the skin. And so that is exactly what our line is. It's just a comprehensive skincare line that takes care of everything from cystic acne with benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid to oily skin to aged skin with peptides and lighteners and brighteners, moisturizers, cellular rejuvenators. These are all in the line. So people always go like, how is your line different than other lines? I mean, we've tried these lines. We've been creating these lines for over 30 years. The melanin system that we have here, we've been using that line for 30 years. And we've just tweaked it and revised it a little bit because we did have hydroquinone in there, like HQ in there. But until the government made that, or the FDA made that illegal to put in your product, and you'd have to have a prescription for it, we had to take it out. So a combination of kojic acids are in there to actually lighten and brighten the skin. So you have to be real careful. We can't say lighten, we can say brighten the skin. But that is it in a nutshell. So know who you're doing it on. Know if somebody has melanin, that they're going to have to do a little bit more to their skin. Don't listen that, oh, I do all that at home, I have all that at home. What peace of mind of you making sure that you're controlling. Well, don't worry, because this product comes with peel. Just go ahead and do it. If they don't think that they're spending the extra money on it, then they'll do it, and they'll take the product and they'll use the product. But the product is very important to this treatment. As you can see, again, the peel was very simple. There wasn't much to it, but the results are going to be phenomenal when she starts to peel and all that exfoliation happens. I'm just feeling the skin to make sure it's completely dry, and it a little tacky here on the cheeks, but everything else is completely dry. We'll sit them up. After this, we'll give them a drink of water. We'll make sure that they're okay to dry relief. And then we'll tell them once the skin starts cracking and breaking, so leave it dry completely. Don't put your face in the shower until it starts to peel. And then they're not going to want to put their face in the shower once it starts to peel, because they're going to be a little bit irritated. So once it starts to peel, then you go ahead and start the post-peel balm. After it's completely peeled off and healed, you can start the epidermal growth factor cream and your melanin cleanser back up. That is it. That is this treatment.
Thank you so much, and thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Now she's sleeping. Oh, wait, turn and look. Can you see that now? See that white? You see a little bit of irritation underneath the eye. If they do have irritation, like I said, in eye ducts, nose, or lips, that's where you take the post-peel balm and you put a little bit on there, and then they'll go home with it. Add it to the price because, they need this product. But try not to get it on the areas that you want to peel. Let me just put a little underneath her eyes, because underneath her eyes are a little irritated.
What about for folks that have fever blisters? Do you recommend that they take L-lysine about 5 days or a week before? Or
They usually have a problem with cold sores. They know it, but definitely this one, you're going to irritate the skin. So just like a microdermabrasion, if they have history of cold sore, make sure that they're on L-lysine or they're on Veltrex. at least a day or two before. And you want to make sure if they go on Veltrex around 1 gram versus the half strength of Veltrex, because that's for somebody that doesn't have a history of cold sores. This might not break them out, and more than breakout, you know, I don't see it a lot from this.
Oh,
But there's always that one, and when that one pops up, that's bad.
yes.
It's scarring. So so we want to make sure we just take care of that as a precaution, and they are more than happy to take care of it as well.
Often can you do these, Jessner? I
I would just do them once a year,
Oh,
because by the time you're ready to do another one, it would be like 6 months. And I would only do that in the first initial 2, but I wouldn't do it anymore after that. So once they ended up getting 2 in a row about every 6 months, then you take it out to yearly. And that's because you got the results, and now you're going to just maintain the results. Sometimes people are like, oh, it's too big of a pain, I'll just do an ultrasound or a microderm, or, you know, do some radio frequency just to tighten the skin, and not go with all the exfoliation and peel. So it's really up to the comfort level of the client. Can they still have like a basic lactic or glycolic? Yes. Yeah, they can go back to doing treatment. So they're asking if they have to wait 6 months before they can do any type of treatment. No, it's really just, it's 7 days after the skin stops peeling, you can go ahead and do another treatment on the skin. You can do a face light skin peel, you can do an ultrasound, you can do a microdermabrasion, you can do any of that after that, about let's just say 14 days from the day you did the peel. Make sense?
wow.
Yeah, and then you're good to go with any of the treatments. Same with your home care. Retinol starts back up, glycolic starts back up, vitamin A start back up, glycolic pads start back up. Anything that's an exfoliator can start back up. Okay, hi. Explain the difference between clarifying. Oh yeah. So we have a clarifying Jessner peel. So that is actually for oily skin. It's a 7% Jessner solution. So it's the full strength solution cut in half. And we do this so that you can do the acne swipe with this, but you can also do the acne swipe with the stronger one, which is the 14-14-14. It just depends on if you're comfortable with the Jessner or not. But that clarifying peel at 7%, you can even put a Q-tip in and dot it on a breakout, and it'll help dry up that breakout. So the difference between them is just the strength is cut in half.
What's the difference between ultrasonic and ultrasound?
Ultrasonic whirls the skin and the water at 27,000 pulses per second to cause an ablation. So ultrasonic. Think about an ultrasonic toothbrush. You know, it's getting rid of plaque with that sound wave and that movement. Now, ultrasound is that head that you see in a lot of things that you just kind of move around the skin. And I wish, I wanted to show you that treatment so bad, but it doesn't actually exfoliate and ablate.
So your machine is both?
We do have an ultrasonic machine, and we do have a sound machine. I always use a combination of machines when I work on people. I feel that it's more effective that way. I won't just do one machine. Even microdermabrasion, I don't do by itself ever. And usually on my 60, 70, and 80-year-olds, I never do microdermabrasion on them because that's pulling and tugging on their skin. So what do you think is going to happen when I pull and tug on delicate skin like that? A couple of things. One, they can kind of get those little hickey marks on their skin. 2, they can bruise. And 3, it's too much. You can break capillaries when you're sucking that much skin. That's a frail skin. You can break capillaries. So here, at broken capillaries, you might have smooth skin, but you have a very uneven texture of red in there. So then I have to go ahead and do some IPL if somebody's come to me and they've done microdermabrasion when they're in their like 60s, 70s, or 80s. And so the IPL, which is an intense pulse light, goes after the dark, which is red hemoglobin, and it blows it up and it causes it to disperse, which then causes it to cauterize and get rid of. So that is the the gist of it. So what other questions do you guys have?
Do you microneedle your 60, 70, and 80-year-old clients?
I do. As long as they're not on a lot of blood thinners,
Mm.
then I'll microderm them. And a lot of times I won't really microderm them, but I'll nano needle. So nano needle, I'm not breaking the skin. I'm just causing a surface wound to the skin so that product penetrates better into it. And I'll have them back in 7 days after this and do another treatment like that on them. And the reason why I'm doing that treatment on them is to really make sure that, one, I've got all the skin off. 2, I can help get all the skin off at 7 days. So if they come in and they've got some pieces left, I can help with that. And 3, I'm going to hydrate their skin. So, and clean their skin out, because we don't clean out the skin before doing Jessners. And the reason why we don't do that is because we don't want to have Jessners go into like an irritated area and cause a hole or cause a scar.
So you have them come in a week, in 7 days to get a hydrating facial?
Yeah, a cleaning, hydrating facial. Helps it rebound.
And those are 2 separate charges that you charge, or how do you set that up?
2 separate charges. So I will set their kit up and their products that they're going to take home and their first treatment, because then the ticket's getting too big, because now,
Yeah.
you know, spreading it out a little bit. I mean, you could give it away. You could do a half-hour comp just to rebalance and rehydrate their skin, but I don't think that's necessary with this peel. I think they're going to see plenty of results with it.
So when you're using, doing the peels and you're also microneedling, what's the safe point between a series of microneedling and then a Jessner peel?
Oh, you can do, after microneedling and a Jessner peel, you can just do the same thing. 14 days, after 14 days, you can go right ahead and do that. So 14 days actually brings that skin back, re-epithelializes the skin, rebuilds the skin, and balances the skin. So you're ready for another treatment. And that's really for your extreme cases. Your skin that's really looking good or doesn't have a whole lot of wrinkles, you don't want to do that to them. So once a month we do these, usually Tuesday, it's usually Wednesday at 1 o'clock that we do them, unless we're traveling or out of town. And then you'll see a different date on there. But we do this so that we can have a good chat about what's going on in ARC. We can talk about treatments. We can all share our ideas and treatments and just kind of brainstorm a little bit. So I hope you found it informative. Again, this is easy, but remembering to suppress the skin and then the aftercare. Thank you again for asking those wonderful questions. It was perfect.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you probably next month.